Yo, we here.
We are live.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. I have to come back to work. No more AI me. It's the real me in the flesh for the live.
The real me. We doing live stream videos this time.
For sure.
We might just drive through the town just because. Do Market Mondays live in the car. You know what I'm saying? Anybody try to run up, it's all love.
What did I miss?
You get folded. Shout out to the six, man.
Shout out to the boy.
Yeah, man. What did I miss, man? What did I miss? Everybody had a healthy weekend, an enjoyable weekend. Had some food, some fireworks. If you did that, hopefully you did it safely. And now we back, man. The market's open. It was closed on Friday, closed a little early on Thursday, so we got a little bit of time. But we back, man. More stuff to talk about. They don't miss a beat, these guys these days, these politicians and these tech execs. They give you a lot.
And the America Party.
We're gonna get to that.
Elon, what are you doing, my boy?
We're gonna get to that.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Well, I'll tell you what, we got a lot to talk about, so we're not gonna waste too much time. But then we have a special guest. Shout out to Pastor Jamal Bryant.
Yeah.
Important conversation. But Connecticut, we will be in the building July 19th.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Mixmaster David and the whole crew. So get your tickets at elevateandcelebrateevents.com. Elevate and celebrate events.com. Connecticut. It's our last time being in Connecticut this year.
Yeah.
We will be there, doing what we do as far as spreading the message of financial literacy, meet and greet vibes, the whole array. And it's a whole, culturally event. So get your tickets.
Yeah.
It's only July. Y'all going to Ghana? Well, okay. August, Invest Fest. You're Ghana in September. What y'all doing?
You never know.
You never know.
Shelton, Connecticut.
Yeah.
Shelton, Connecticut.
Shout out to Connecticut, man. They show love. They show a lot of love. It's like a place that if you're on a tour, a lot of people don't make a tour stop in Connecticut. And so when people actually come to the different cities, they always come out in droves and they always show love, man. Shout out to CT. Shout out to CT. Y'all a lot of people see us out there eating.
Yeah. Oh, and we're actually, there's a giveaway too. So 10 tickets for that event, for that CT event. The first 10 people that DM Elevate and Celebrate Events, if you DM them EYL, they'll give you 10 tickets. So shout out to them, the first 10 people that DM Elevate and Celebrate Events.
Mm-hmm.
DM them EYL and you will get free ticket to that event. So shout out to all the good folks in Shelton, Connecticut.
Yeah.
For sure. We got Blackout at 10 o'clock on Wednesday.
Amazing.
And we have David Banner as a guest on Earn Your Leisure this week at 6 o'clock on Thursday. Shout out to David Banner.
Second time, right?
First time
for real?
He did Ash Cash's show.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And he was at Invest Fest.
Yeah, but that's the first time we actually sat down with him. So
we've been around him a bunch though.
He a good dude, yo. One of my favorite people on earth.
Super solid.
Yeah, passionate, super intelligent.
Bunch of wisdom. Yep.
Yeah.
Good dude. Ian, any announcements?
Yes, Apple, top executive in charge of AI models, got stolen from Meta today. Shout out to Mark Zuckerberg and all of Meta. Apple, what are you gonna do? If I made you money, please put yes in chat. Zuckerberg writing checks like, ooh, keep Meta on your radar. And they got the other glasses coming out end of the year. Ooh, baby.
Yeah.
Mid-roll.
Maybe we'll get to preview on that some point.
Shout out to the good folks at Nike. I spoke to the elite Nike elite team today. Spoke to the young men about NIL and making good decisions when it comes to the money that they're going to be coming into very, very soon, whether it be in college or whether it be in the NBA. So that's important. A lot of these guys are getting a lot of money.
A lot of money, brother.
And they might not even be household names, and they're getting $500,000, $700,000. Elite players getting $2-3 million per season. I just saw yesterday on the Hill. I saw Boogie Flan. They say $3 million NIL deal
to stay in Arkansas.
No, he's going to Florida.
Oh, he left?
Yeah, going to Florida.
Damn.
Going to Florida. So
national champions.
Man, this This NIL money is
We're not even going to talk about this. Shout out to Devin Booker, who picked up nice little 75 a year. KD.
Yeah, Paulo just got 253.
Shea Gilchrist, $70 million a year.
Yeah.
Legendary. So
yeah. You know what's crazy? And this is Overtime. Shout out to Overtime Elite out in Atlanta. Our guest who was with us at the Overtime Elite, Bryson. He made the Miami Heat summer league team. I was watching him play yesterday.
Shout out to Bryson, man.
Yeah. Bryson Warren, man. Shout out to him. It was crazy. He's a point guard now, and they were talking about how he was the player of the year in Arkansas, and how he, has developed into a solid player. And I was like, damn, man, that was him.
Yeah.
Shout out to him.
Time flies.
You know what made me feel old watching the Summer League? Jameer Nelson's son playing. Shout out to
Nelson Jr.
I remember when he was little in age. I'm like, wait, he's in the NBA. Ish called me like, yo, I'm like, time is flying. So shout out to all of y'all hooping, getting y'all big contracts, invest in the market.
We've been watching basketball a long time.
Long time, bro.
Rick Brunson was a point guard at Temple.
For real.
Before he was Jalen's dad.
That's a fact.
That long.
Troy, disclaimer.
Yeah, you know how this works, man. Continue to do your research. Shout out to everybody that is doing the research and sharing the research. We appreciate you greatly. Our content is intended to be used and must be used for informational purposes only. It is very important to do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional connection with, or independently research and verify any information that you find on our show and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. Continue to do the research. Like I said, share it when it's great. Give credit where it's due. Let's build wealth. Let's build our brokerage accounts. Let's build our community. Let's do it together. Love is love. And shout out, I want to give a shout out. Shout out to all the young people who have graduated from either college or high school.
Absolutely.
Every time I stopped in somebody's seat, they're always talking about their brokerage accounts. I had a bunch of high school students over the weekend that were interested. I actually got a phone call today with somebody that was just trying to open up a brokerage account. They're in their dorm room now. He's about to play ball, so he's doing summer school and is interested in opening his brokerage account. That's super inspiring, man. The fact that they're doing that at such a young age just tells me where we're headed with this. So shout out to them.
Yeah.
That's a fact. All right, let's get into it. So we're gonna talk about a lot. Let's talk about Elon Musk. Start off the program.
Oh boy,
have to.
Over the weekend, he announced he started a new political party. I think it's called the American Party.
The America Party.
So third party. There's been a bunch of third parties in the past, Green Party, different things of that nature. But he wants to start a new political party. He's unhappy with Republicans and Democrats. Donald Trump responded, Truth Social, long. I'm not gonna read all of it, but
long form.
The first sentence was, "I'm saddened to watch Elon Musk go completely off the rails, essentially becoming a train wreck in all caps. Over the past 5 weeks, he even wants to start a third political party, despite the fact that they have never succeeded in the United States of America. The system seems not designed for them." And then Elon responded, "Well, I'm not reading all that because
that's hilarious.
A whole long paragraph." And then Elon does that, and Tesla stock drops $21 today.
Bloodbath.
Forward you an investor on Bloomberg pretty much saying that at some point the board may need to reevaluate who's the CEO of Tesla.
Hello. When me and Shawty be on the same page, give and go.
You add into his comments, his political commentary, and to the fact that the big beautiful bill got passed, which takes away EV credits. You could see how today would have been a bad day for Tesla.
Or the power of, once again, to tie into a previous episode of being quiet. Just because you swung the election one way does not mean that you are going to. First off, you're South African. You're not going to be able to come into this country and make a new party and rig another election for your benefit because you haven't figured out how to properly monetize your EV brand in the United States of America with the consumer base. You overplayed your hand. And this is the thing whenever two megalomaniacs, I'm saying this in a positive way, get into a war, there's going to be one winner and one loser. Focus on, and I've been said this, go to chairman of Tesla, focus on Starlink. That is the star, but you want to get in these little dumb battles, and here we are.
Yeah,
The biggest lesson is to weigh the cost of these wars before you get into them.
do you think that the proposed party has presidential aspirations, or is he doing it to just be disruptive? Because like from what I read, it was more of, hey, we're only focusing on 2 or 3 Senate seats a year, and we're focusing on 8 to 10 House seats per year, just enough to make it disruptive so that we can sway votes either way. Did y'all take it as presidential aspiration or just more disruptive play?
Presidential delusion, I'm sorry, but presidential delusion.
How many third-party candidates are there in Congress?
Hello, see, and
yeah, but I'm not saying to nominate them. I'm talking to back somebody so that it can get swayed. Right? He's putting that financial, like kind of what he did this year, where he put the money behind a candidate, and that candidate had obviously was it Minnesota?
No, he put money behind a Republican though.
Mm-hmm.
So he'd have to create the candidate and then put the money behind it.
Left wing, right wing, same bird. Despite, if you've seen Jurassic Park, you cannot pick an oceanic creature to run for president and win. The machines that you used last time to help Trump win is not going to work. And you also have to factor in, now you have Peter Thiel. This is one of the costs that Apple didn't factor in with Meta throwing all this money into AI. Not only in creating this party are you making an enemy in Trump, but you're making an enemy in Trump and Peter Thiel at the same time. Peter's not an opponent. He has installed the vice president. You think I'm going to let you disrupt my candidate from potentially running the country because you had a kerfuffle with your Republican bro? No, it's over with. This is chess. Rashad, if I call you and I say, yo, you know what, man, I'm tired of you, bro. Can I call you a week before investors and be like, yo, that slot though, Sunday. Can I see?
It's still good.
Yo, can I go on still? I got the other band from
Still
Japan. I'm ready. No. Gotta weigh up these costs beforehand. You overplayed your hand. Go to be chairman. Focus on Starlink. Because that is the real business that I think has the biggest leeway for consumers. Tesla's not it.
Stay out of politics.
I do. And
Have to.
Yvonne Diaz send our condolences. Maybe if you send us an email, we can, try to see what would be possible.
I'm sorry.
I will say this. Once again, going back to discipline, he's overplayed his hand. And that's something that you are going to be punished for it eventually, because you're pissing off your number one client, which is the government.
Yeah.
Both sides. I don't understand why he doesn't know that this is not a good idea. If you're just from a 5th grade elementary standpoint, if your number one client is United States government
and has been,
you piss off the Democrats and then you pissing off the Republicans. You really think that you can keep the level of government contracts that you have by disrespecting both political parties?
And Mexico and parts of Europe, and you aren't the most loved in South Africa still.
Yeah,
he's high. He got to be high. He got to be high.
So it's tricky because
because of his decision making, or high.
No. I'm talking about in terms of the government being his number one client. They haven't been the number one client in terms of revenue, but what they have done is create initiatives, and they've allowed him to do business at a different cost point.
Well, I'm saying his number one client as far as if it's an individual or entity that buys products or supplies products or
he's
contracts. He has
20. So they did 20 billion in government contracting. The cards have done more. What I'm saying is
no. But when I'm saying a client, I'm saying like a client is this. That's just one entity.
Yep.
So let's say another client might be a college, right, or something like. They're his number one client by
singular,
far. By far.
Yes.
It's not even close.
And you add into that the initiatives that they're actually signing across so that he can.
Why would you disrespect your number one client? True. That's just entrepreneurship. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out. You don't disrespect your clients. You definitely don't disrespect your number one client.
True. Yeah, that's a mistake.
Right? Why would you do that?
That's a mistake. They're estimated to be at 96.9 billion per year for 2025. So if they brought in 20, that's still a substantial amount.
Oh no,
Not recover.
yeah, not that. Yes, from a singular standpoint, yes, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And you look at the space and what that's going to look like for them, just from the EV standpoint, for the Tesla itself. Not talking about any other company that he's founded or is potentially going to IPO. What Trump just did in terms of the bill that was just signed, it's going to affect them in the very near term and maybe into 2026 in terms of that EV space. Of now, we're losing ground in China. We were already seeing sales decline. We already saw that the Cybertruck really wasn't what we thought it was going to be. And now we're taking out initiatives for people to actually get the $7,500 rebate for buying a car. And depending on what state you live, there was another rebate on top of it, which subsidized the price. And you take all that out of there, yeah, that P&L gonna look a little different.
And Mercedes and BMW and Ford and
Really?
now you're going to have the government's pushing for some of these brands to be more dominant because Trump is petty. He's going to offset some of those victories you were having because of the government. It's tough. It is tough. On your weaknesses list, when you do a SWOT analysis, being into it with the World Economic Forum and the president is not advisable.
And they have competition. Blue Origin, like this, there's different companies that could potentially. We'll see what happens, man.
Yeah.
So, what does this mean for Tesla stock?
It's gonna fall. I would like it at 238.54. Really would love it at 225, but that 238 level I do like. By end of the year should be around the 290, 270 range. But once again, I think him and Tim Cook, we're entering a different era of corporate dominance in America, and I think their leadership styles just don't fit anymore. I really think Elon would be best served as going to chairman, focusing on Starlink and SpaceX, which probably have the possibility for giving him higher return in the private and public market, and find another executive. For who? I don't know who, but that will be thing number one on my list, to find a beloved CEO from tech to run Tesla to take it to higher heights.
Yeah, I think it, like I said, there'll be some short-term pullback for the rest of this year. I see that going into Q3, finishing up Q3 and Q4, and maybe into 2026. But I don't think it's a collapse of Tesla. I don't think it's a collapse of the EV space. What I do think, and even from your experience in what we saw in Africa and what you were talking about in China, it was like there's going to be a repricing in this entire market.
For sure.
When we take out all those initiatives and people stop buying it at that price, and we know that they can make it over there for 12 and they make it over there for 15.
And they've already been discounted. Yeah.
And you've been discounted it plus rebates. Now it's going to be tough for you to sell it to me for 55 when I know I can get one that is equal quality for 20. So there's going to be some repricing, which now takes it. And that was kind of the situation they were in a couple of years ago. It's like, do we stay luxury or do we become economical and be for everybody? Right? Like, do we put it at a price point where everybody can buy it, or do we try to remain luxury? They went with the latter and said, hey, we're going to make it for everybody. Now you lose those rebates. I think they come down. There's going to be repricing in the EV space.
Mistake. I agree, but it's a mistake. I think because now you can't reinvest into making a better car. Like Rashad talked about his experience in China, even in Japan, like just some cars just in other countries are just naturally better. And as majority of the companies are going to luxury, like Kia Telluride arguably is a better experience than that 3. You got to reinvest into the product.
You said Kia?
I tell you what. I feel like
the Telluride is tough.
I feel like,
and it's going for $79,000.
Elon Musk's days is numbered. When I say his days is numbered, as far as him being the CEO,
told you,
Tesla and all of that, because it's like Casino. If you watch the movie Casino, when Nicky, what's his last name? Tarantino, right?
I don't remember his name.
Joe Pesci's character?
Joe Pesci's character.
When
he started doing a variety of different things, and he went rogue pretty much. The mob bosses back in Kansas City, they said like, yo, they got tired of him. Enough is enough. That was the last thing. Enough is enough, man. Like they liked him. They always liked Nicky.
It's a made man.
He was one of them. He was Italian. He wasn't a made man. He got killed when he was about to become a made man. They set that up.
I thought it was for his brother to be a made man. That's when he got killed.
No, it was his thing. It was
they're gonna make his brother a made man. Nikki was made man. That's why he was protecting her ace.
Well, either way, they got tired of his nonsense.
Exactly.
And they killed him because of that. So there's always bosses. Bosses, even you might not have a boss, but there's other bosses.
Mm-hmm.
And when
Bilderberg, World Economic Forum.
Exactly. When the bosses get disgruntled by your erratic behavior, your days are numbered. And Elon Musk, he's pissing off too many people. And I don't see how he can really come back from this, honestly.
The way he comes back for Tesla, and it has to be the robo-taxi. Like, that's it. So like when you kind of mentioned like having numerous people have the vehicle won't benefit. The only way that it does benefit is that the robo-taxi becomes now something that everybody can do, right? So like I know they were talking about there's upgrades inside the Tesla 3 where you can push a switch and now it can be robo-taxi. So imagine you're sleeping, your car is working for you, right? If 2 million people have that as an option, like your car's working while you sleep, or you're at work and your car's working, I mean, they're gonna have to create a platform, which I think why Uber is in a great place for it. But that could be a way where it's like, hey, the number one way to increase revenue is to have the car do the work.
But with having those enemies, though, legislatively, when will he hit a roadblock? I agree 1,000%. But if you've pissed off a party that is vindictive, he may have some roadblocks before.
Of course, that's why I think
it's coming. It's coming
very,
very soon. And the movie, okay, Goodfellas is when he got killed on his way to a celebration for the made man situation.
Oh, yes.
Casino.
Yes.
I don't know when they caught him in Casino, but
they caught him when they was going to make his brother a made man. They brought him into the grass fields.
That's Goodfellas.
No, that's Casino. They beat him with a bat and buried him alive.
Remember Goodfellas? He walks in the room. He's like, oh shit, because he thought it was his day. Goodfellas, listen,
because they walk into like a restaurant or something, right?
Yes.
His
mom.
Yeah. They knew they lined him up. Yep.
He walks in the restaurant. He sees the restaurant's empty. He's like, oh shit, he knew what it was. Yeah. That's what that was. Yeah. That's when he got killed in Goodfellas.
Yeah, I'm talking about Casino.
I know, but the whole thing, they was going to make him a made man.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Different movie.
In Goodfellas.
Different movie. I'm saying in Casino, he was a made man. His brother was about to be a made man. That's when they beat them with the bats in the woods, in the grass field.
No, it was a desert.
No, it wasn't desert.
It was a desert.
1,000% it was a grass field.
They buried him in the
Somebody put in chat, was it? I remember a desert scene. It's been a long time. One thing I will say, if you have the ear of the president,
you're wrong.
Where they bury him at?
They buried him in the grass. They dug a ditch.
They buried him in the desert in Las Vegas.
Can y'all just
they literally look stop. The desert. Let's stop.
Let's make a wager.
Casino it's Las Vegas. There's no woods in Las Vegas. It's the desert. It's literally a desert. It's Las Vegas, Nevada.
You see what they said?
The desert.
A cornfield. That's not the desert.
They buried him in the desert.
I want y'all to clip this up.
For real.
Cornfield scene when he's getting beat.
No, they buried him in the desert is a classic.
He was never buried in the desert. He was
buried in the desert.
They're telling you it's a cornfield. A cornfield where they put 2 beaches for him and his brother.
It's a million desert. Right there, desert.
You want me to pull this up?
Look, we got a shot.
Yeah, I got a text that said desert.
All right.
It's Las Vegas.
I'm not gonna say anything.
It's literally.
I'm not gonna say anything.
They drove a mile down the road. Okay.
All right.
Neither here nor there.
Anyway, if you have the ear of a president, it would behoove you to be a good fellow and not upset the fucking president.
That's a fact. Or the entire government.
Yes.
So we're halfway into the year, and I think it's important to highlight something. I put this on Instagram, but since April, some of the stocks that we've talked about on Market Mondays, Nvidia is up 46% since April.
Yep.
TSM is up 41% since April. QQQ. Shout out to Invesco. Invest with Invesco. We'll be at InvestFest.
Shout out to our
up 35%. This is just since April. MU is up 30%. ASML is up 40%. There's a variety of other stocks, but Twitter only allows you to do 120 characters. So these are just some stocks that we've championed. So, okay, mid-year, let's take an assessment, a mid-year assessment of things that have gone right in this situation, right? We could talk about Bitcoin for sure. MicroStrategy up $110. There's a variety of different things. Anything else come to mind?
Broadcom comes to mind.
Broadcom for sure.
It comes to mind.
Palantir.
Palantir definitely comes to mind. Vistra comes to mind. Vertiv comes to mind. It's been, Spotify has done incredible.
Spotify's been on the tear.
It's absolutely incredible.
And for those who loved it, to be honest, IONQ. Not one of my favorites, but those who got in there early.
I think we're early. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we're early. Yeah, there's just been a bunch in that AI data center economy, which took a hit early in the year. Like I said, two pivotal moments: DeepSeek, obviously in January, and then April 7th. What happened there? But since then, man, it's been
on the tear.
It's been on the tear.
Vanguard Technology Fund, VGT.
Oh, we forgot Robinhood as well.
Robinhood, got to give credit to Vlad
yep.
and him fighting back for sure. So, and it brings me to a lesson that I had with Stock Club last week, but all of your fears and concerns go away if you hold for a 10-year period. Stop all the noise. Like, just hold for a 10-year cycle and you'll be good. I was looking at the price of Bitcoin 10 years prior and just seeing where it was 10 years ago. Like, that growth has been tremendous. I'm even seeing a few people starting to lean into Ethereum to hold for 10 years on institutional side. People in real estate already know about the 7-year hold, but if you just hold for 10, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
I think somebody in the chat said I like Rigetti. Yeah, for quantum computing, I like the infrastructure plays, right? I just think we're a little early now.
Too early.
Yeah, we're a little early. But yeah, you're right. I did say that.
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, that just goes to show you, if you listen to
hold on real quick. I mean to cut you off. Bro, a guy said we act like we're promised tomorrow. We are not, but our families are. At some point, we have to stop living for ourselves solely and live for others in the future, because we all say we wish someone would have invested for us, but then in turn around won't put in the work and hold for a 10-year period for someone else. I respect the comment, but hold for 10 years.
Oh, what's the
in terms of quantum computing?
What's the context of it?
Yeah,
just somebody said I act as if we're promised tomorrow. No,
well, you know what's funny about that is, shout out to 19 Keys. We spoke earlier, and I spoke to him for like an hour, and he was saying one of the things that he said. He was like, Ian. He was like, people, have criticism for Ian as far as buying whole, but he was like, to get people in our culture to commit to holding on to something for a long term is actually a miracle. So he was like, he actually needs to be championed
for sure,
encouraging people to take the long path, as opposed to, you could just say like, okay, this is, Shibu Inu, and I'm gonna get you 1,000% rate of return. Sure. You're being very responsible with the buy and hold strategy, and that's just been proven to work long term. So I think that people, like somebody put, even on Instagram, when I put that tweet up, and they was like, well, what's the sell price for Nvidia? And the sell price is 10 years, right? 20 years, 30 years, that's the sell price. But you can't have long-term wealth with a short-term mind. That's vitally important. And kudos to Ian amongst everybody, Troy and everybody else, but Ian has definitely championed long-term investing. And I think that that's a very responsible decision that he's made. And I think that speaks to his dedication and wanting to see people succeed.
Hot take: the only people who want you to do short-term haven't built the real bag in real life, and they're trying to get the bag up off of you of doing short-term shit.
I mean, it's important, right? And that's why I was talking about. This has been a crucial 5 years from 2020 to present day. Is like, you've seen these cycles. This is 5 years, feels like long term to a lot of people, but you've seen growth in 6 months. You've seen it in a year. You've seen it in 2 years. You saw a pullback in 2022, and now you saw the Nasdaq go up 23 and 24%, and probably was on pace to have another double-digit gain year. And I mean, we still might, but obviously, new administration came in. But you've seen all these things in this cycle, so yeah, shout out to you and kudos to everybody that's executing. Because it's one thing for people to come in and listen. Shout out to Jocelyn, who said she got Cloudflare and is up 150%. Shout out to you for executing. The execution is the part, right? You can come here every week, but if you're not actually putting these things into action and seeing the benefits,
yeah. Even look in chat. What was the price of Bitcoin 10 years ago? I'm not a Bitcoin maxi. I had Bitcoin when it was on Mt. Gox. Shout out to Matt Schlitt, who put me onto it, just for context. But everyone I know who had it 10 years ago and still are holding it, they look like that Magic Johnson video y'all posted. The people I know who was holding Bitcoin for 11 and 12 years, they are living house in Mallorca, house in Mexico, house in free. The real goal, put in chat, the real goal is freedom. As a futures trader that's able to get 3,000 to 4,000% a year in a predictive fashion, the best money for me has been the long-term holds.
That's a fact.
I'm sorry. Like the quick money is fun, but the money when it's compounding year over year, especially when you don't touch it, that's why I get to talking like this, because it's the freedom part.
Yeah. I woke up this morning with a new goal. I think I'll wait to share it. I think I'm gonna do it in the next class, but I got a new goal. I used to say, let's get 100 shares, 100 doors. And then a lot of people got 100 shares. And then I was like, well, let's get to 1,000 shares. And so I've got a new goal with a specific company, and I'm gonna give the info on in the next class. Stay tuned for the date.
It's a freedom number is nothing more of calculation of equity plus the share price over time. Same thing with y'all in media. People ask, when y'all gonna quit? It's not time. A lot of people are surprised we made it to 5 years for Market Mondays. I'm like, if you know my investment table, nope. It ain't time. You got to know when to exit.
10-year minimum. Okay. Well, speaking of another thing that actually went up a lot in the last 3 months is Ethereum, up $1,200 in the last 3 months, quietly. Wall Street's secret catalyst for the future, some say.
Yeah.
So what is the deal with Ethereum?
Bitcoin maxis, I'm gonna be on your side. I think everybody who missed out on investing in Bitcoin is trying to use ETH as the new alpha driver for themselves and for clients. And I think it's going to have success, but it's not going to have the success of Bitcoin. I want to be clear. Bitcoin is Michael Jordan in the crypto space. Ethereum may be Harold Miner, Sean, whoever.
Come on.
Vitalik, I appreciate you for speaking out finally, coming out the shadows.
Harold Miner is so disrespectful.
Harold Miner was tough. It's not D Wade, year one in Miami. Who is it?
It can't
Scott
be D Wade.
Pippen?
It could be D Wade.
No,
it's number 2, right? Like it's number 2.
Zaire. It ain't D Wade. You'll get 20% return, but like,
well, that's now.
So
are you finished? I'll let you finish.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna. So it's interesting because when I read this report, we had gone to Cannes last year, and I saw a bunch of people in Cannes this year, and that was like the last week of June. And then last week, I'm like, wait, Ethereum held an entire conference in Cannes just for nobody, like quietly, they've been doing that for 10 years. So everybody knows the Cannes Film Festival, and obviously we know Ad Week, but Ethereum has their week too. And the people that showed up to it are very telling, right? A bunch of Wall Street firms, I'll run them down for you. BlackRock, you might have heard of. JP Morgan, you might have heard of. Goldman Sachs, probably heard of. Franklin Templeton, Citi, and Fidelity Assets, all have used Ethereum, have been involved with Ethereum in terms of infrastructure. And so Bitcoin, you can't build on Bitcoin, right? In terms of blockchain, like you have to, Ethereum is that platform where other companies are building on. And so if this space is being adopted by major Wall Street firms and major tech firms inside of that, you can see the pathway for it to appreciate. Now, it's not going to be Bitcoin. Obviously, you're right. This is Michael Jordan, for sure.
For sure.
But like, it could be a D Wade. I mean, I'm not even saying it's LeBron or Kobe. It could be a D Wade in this space, right? It's clearly the number 2. It's been number 2 for mean, I think
It's
at the end of this month, it'll be 10 years of Ethereum. So it's relatively new still, right? So it has pace. You can understand its functionality, and financial institutions are looking to use it as the fintech platform inside of blockchain. It has that advantage.
Yeah, the one thing I will say to give context on the institutional side, this is their version of all-weather strategy. And when I was screaming, they're going to take over crypto, this is a part of their plan. This is more of a hedge. I know some people see it as a leading technology. Bitcoin clearly is the preeminent leader in that space. But going back to last week's conversation of building a base, a lot of institutions are building a base with Ethereum, and I think eventually XRP will have their run after that. So they're just making sure they're concentrated in everything so that they control all assets as they should. Yeah. But I don't think Ethereum will ever pass up Bitcoin. And given that their last high was in 2021,
true,
they're underneath their 50% retracement since inception. They have a long way to go.
I don't think it'll ever pass it. I'm with you. No. I don't think it'll ever pass it. But when we looked at tokenized economy, I think, Shadi, you sent that article about Robinhood, you being able to tokenize shares. Like, that's, now, if it's true or not, the idea of it is revolutionary, right? So like, we're talking about tokenized economy. We're talking about stable coins. These are all being built on Ethereum. Even Circle, which just IPO and has been going crazy, they built their platform on a platform that is built on Ethereum. So like, you can see the use case there. You can see more people adopting it, and there's a pathway here for it to have some gains.
I'm glad Putin let Vitalik out to be able to speak this past weekend.
That was crazy. I saw him giving a speech. I'm like, oh, there he is. Where's he been?
Been a while. It has been a while.
So, another thing that 19 Keys told me is that don't destroy something unless you're capable of rebuilding it better than what it was before. I say that to say, when you see what the discussion online has been about Essence Fest, it's interesting. And it's a narrative that we've seen before with Afrotech and a variety of different things. But I think that there's a thin line between criticism that's constructive and envy and hate to just try to destroy something with no plan of building it. So this is important because it's a business conversation. When you look at the largest festival per numbers wise in America, it's Essence Fest. 300,000-400,000 people go. That's a lot of jobs.
It's a lot of employment.
That's economic empowerment to a city like New Orleans, who's a Black city and historically has always had challenges, right? So it's eye-opening, but it's also alarming when you see the joy and the enthusiasm for people to pile on the downfall of said event. And a lot of people that were not even there.
That's funny that it happens that way.
Never been there.
It says a lot about the times that we're in, but it also says a lot about the state that we're in as a community and why we're in said state.
One of the factors, yeah.
It's something to think about because this is a trend.
And who's paying them to do that every year? It's like clockwork, right after the 4th.
Oh, the hate train?
Oh, yeah. Like, this is millions of dollars worth of, like, once it's on different platforms across the board, and that's like, that's coordinated and paid and sponsored media. Propaganda, like to look like it's social or user generated content, but that's a deployed sponsored campaign.
Yeah, from either from bots or from people who don't even understand the intricacies that it takes to put on an event of that size. You're talking like, there's been times when there's 2 or 3 million people coming throughout the weekend to that event in a city. They take over the entire city.
Yeah.
Think about the logistics of that. Can they make improvements? Of course. Everybody can make an improvement from an event. Do we need to bash it? What happens when it's not there? And what's that going to do to the city of New Orleans and all the people that rely on those jobs in that event on a yearly basis? Some people make their year being a part of that. So we got to be very mindful and careful of what we're doing.
Yeah. And my glass, no, these are not AI glasses from China. These are Tom Ford.
Who said that?
These are Tom Ford.
Why y'all think everything AI? Me, the glass.
Not yet.
What?
Not yet.
Soon come.
Soon come. But yeah, but so InvestFest, let's lay this parameter out now.
Get in front of this now.
Get your tickets on Thursday. Communication is key. Thursday, register, get your communications, get your badges. The event starts Friday at 10 o'clock. All day education Friday, workshops, panels, all day. The event doesn't start on Saturday, it starts on Friday. All day Friday. If you brought a ticket, you should get your money's worth. Get your badge on Thursday or Friday, but highly suggest that you get it at least on Friday. All day. Then the VIP is at night. But don't disregard. The reason why I'm saying this is because there's somebody that's going to come Sunday night. I
didn't get enough value.
I didn't get enough value. You know what I'm saying? So we're not even gonna play that game like early. Let's manage expectations early.
Yeah.
All day Friday, Invesco, QQQ, a variety of other Fortune 500 companies that we can't even name yet because we haven't made the announcement. Workshops for entrepreneurs, workshops for investors, big enough room for everybody to get in the marketplace. Choose your time wisely. Choose your time. Panels you go to, workshops, Saturday, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. Well, is there nightlife? Yes. Now, if you choose to go to Follies and come back to your hotel at 4 o'clock in the morning, and then you're too hungover to go to the AI panel,
it's on you.
That is the decision that you made.
You're not thinking long term.
It's a fact. So let's just get that out there early.
Yep. And come see me right after Magic Johnson. As soon as you did that y'all video, I said, damn.
Yeah.
Y'all video was tough.
Gotta work harder. Should have did that in Miami.
That was good.
Gotta work harder.
Check. We sound good. Somebody said my microphone sounded off. We good?
No, you sound great.
We
One,
good?
two, 1, 2. Okay. So let's talk about the big, beautiful bill. Big, beautiful bill is now officially law. This is what made Elon go crazy. So he said it's going to add trillions of dollars to the deficit. Tax cuts, spending for border patrol. I think the amount of money that's being spent for ICE and border patrol is legendary. So what's everybody's take on this big, beautiful bill situation?
You're a political expert. I think you should start.
Lead us.
Appreciate it. I think that it was is irresponsible governance. When you're talking about cutting Medicaid for almost 14 million people while giving tax breaks, while adding to the deficit by putting unprecedented amounts of money in border control and ICE to build a wall. You're playing to a base, but it's not responsible, especially if you're a fiscal Republican. That's why Elon Musk got mad, because he's like, what's the point of doing Doge? What's the point on running on cutting the deficit? What's the point of running on being a fiscal Republican if we're only going to add to the problem?
Yep.
And there's really only two ways to cut money, to raise money. It's to raise taxes or cut government spending. Democrats want to raise taxes, Republicans want to cut government spending traditionally, but this actually increased government spending.
Yeah.
So you can't cut taxes and increase government spending. They try to cut government spending on certain things, but long term is going to add to government. It's going to add to government spending, and they raised the debt ceiling. So it's at a certain point where the debt, they don't care about the debt anymore. It just doesn't matter because there's no pathway forward to try to fix the problem. So now I'm just thinking that it's just like one of these things, like just pass it to the next generation and just screw it. Like, you know, we're still afloat. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I've been screaming this debt to GDP issue forever, and we have to be very honest. Both sides are doing this, Democrats and Republicans. So since we've been doing the show, the 2020 COVID relief bill, the CARES Act, then the Infrastructure and Jobs Act, then Build Back Better was proposed, and now we're here with the big, beautiful bill. Will somebody from a higher power stop some of the spending, or is the plan clear that we're not able to reverse debt to GDP and we're just going to run up the proverbial credit card to no avail? One of the things, like you said, he ran on was less spending and the introduction of Doge, and then we're seeing spending higher than ever and not going to the places where it should go. It's just confusing when some people are now saying that debt to GDP being at 300% or 350% in 15 years won't matter.
Like,
It's really confusing.
let's just look at this real quick, right? Like, adds $2 trillion to the national debt over the next 10 years. That's from the CBO, which is nonpartisan group. No major spending cuts. $700 billion increase to military spending annually, right? Medicare and Social Security relatively untouched long term. No balancing of the budget achieved. Corporate tax cut now permanent. It's you could just go down the list of like, what if your goal is to cut the budget, this does not accomplish any of that
at all.
And you think about the people who it affects, right? So you're talking about Medicare, you're talking about food assistance, you're talking about higher education has now changed in terms of repayment plans. You're talking about Planned Parenthood. Like, these things are going to affect communities that we're familiar with. So here's the other question, right? Then it made me like find comb this whole thing and figure out, is there anything that's beneficial inside this bill? And I found one.
Okay.
I found one.
A needle in a haystack.
I found it.
Got you.
From an investment standpoint, when we talk about AI and we talk about semis, there are benefits for those semiconductor companies who are building in the United States. Such companies come to mind as Taiwan Semiconductor, who will benefit from this. And the company, Ian, maybe we'll talk about, and Shadi will talk about Micron as well. When we're talking about high bandwidth memory, there are 3 top players in this sector. 2 of them are from South Korea. One is from the United States of America, being Micron. Told you about it numerous times. The increase on percentage of, I think, incentives that they got went from 25% to 35%. That changes the lines. Intel is part of that as well. I didn't want to say it, Ian, because I know how you feel about them.
It's fine. I don't have any feelings. Just the quantitative data is.
So from an investment standpoint, inside of those companies, and I know a lot of our audience are invested in some of those companies, there is some benefit there. But everything else, tough.
And the one positive thing I will say about Intel is that even though it's not a favorable stock, we can't afford to have a death of an American iconic brand while debt to GDP is rising and other countries are encroaching on our territory in terms of tech. We can't afford it. We can't afford it. You know what else is beneficial? Red Panda Stock Club.
There you go.
If you want to get rich from the market, want to know where to get in, where to get out, go to ianinvest.com. Amazing stock club call we had this past week. But if you want to know the companies that are going to thrive, do well, despite of the big, beautiful bill or Elon and Trump's fight, go to ianinvest.com and join the stock club. If I made you money, please put yes in chat. I love y'all. Stock club call this Wednesday.
Amen.
There you have it.
Amen.
Let's talk about Palantir. Stock price is up 78% year to date. And they just landed another $795 million federal contract. If you don't know, Palantir is the defense, AI defense company. They're the ones that's supplying all the drones here, internationally, all over. Okay. Is this the next Nvidia as far as the run, like the run that we saw with Nvidia a couple years ago? Is Palantir the next run like that?
Nvidia is the second greatest returning asset next to Bitcoin if you look over a 10-year period. So I'm not sure if they'll be there, but I do think that they may be the new Tesla before Elon went off the rails. So I will look at this like it's like the 2011, 2010 moment. They are on fire. I can see them getting to 158 by the end of the year if things remain the same. I do think they're having an amazing run. Still morally don't love to invest into them. But if you're looking for a potential exit price, if that's going to be a point of contention, by the end of the year, 158 is where I think they should land. And I think they're probably one of the best run companies. And since there isn't any more quantitative easing, notice that we are not building more social apps. We aren't building more dating apps. We're building real things that have an impact in the real world. And I think Palantir, at a time when it was not sexy to be in a space when quantitative easing was afloat, they found their footing as the economy has changed. So they've done a tremendous job. Maybe not the new Nvidia, but I do think they are the new Tesla.
That's a fair comparison. The market cap is at 328 billion. And you're right. Like if it has a run, like a Tesla run, you can see that getting up to 1 trillion. Yeah. I mean, defense tech we've seen the power of it. It's going to lead the way for the near future and the long-term future. I'll be interested in seeing the cybersecurity sector as well. When we talk about Palantir, we talk about it from a defense tech standpoint, but the security around AI is going to be important too. So I'll be interested in seeing that. But yeah, I think that was probably the most accurate. I don't know if Nvidia, which is on pace to be at 4 trillion, presumably by the end of this month.
Yeah, hopefully.
Right. For all sake, we'd be happy to see that. First time in history that has happened. I don't know if it does that. Just because the use case
is so dramatically different. Yeah.
It's just a drastic difference in what they're being used for. But yeah, I think this will be $1 trillion company.
3-year target price, $235.57. I want to be the first on record to say it. I want to hear y'all in the morning taking my take on other platforms, but 235.57 is where I have it in 3 years.
Okay. Any questions from the audience? Since we got you guys here live on a Monday, let's see if we have any questions from the audience.
We are live.
Shout out to y'all.
6,300 people. Shout out to you guys.
There we go.
This is
there you are.
The only show that's made you money on a consistent basis for over 5 years, if we're being completely honest.
If you're keeping it real. Entry point for Palantir, I like 127.99 if you're holding for long term. 127.99.
You heard him. 127.99, ladies and gentlemen. Bitcoin. How much crypto should somebody hold in their portfolio?
I'm gonna be on the record and say the 60-40 bond split is dead. To any advisor who emails you and tells you otherwise, I'm sorry. I can't get a real answer what's going on with the bond market. I do think at this point it's inevitable and highly advisable for at least 20% of your portfolio to be into cryptocurrency. If we're just looking over a return basis, and I'm not mentioning altcoins, I'm talking about the big three.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at Ray Dalio's all-weather portfolio strategy, the last asset class to be added was crypto, but it's given the most return. It would behoove you to have at least 20% in. I don't think you have to be 100% in if you don't believe in it in that fashion. But I think to focus 60 or 40% on bonds, it would be a mistake. I would replace that with 20% crypto, 20% gold if you're looking for a hedge, and the rest being equities.
20%. That's
according to the prices that I know y'all like to rewrite history. I did call 20,000.
Well documented. Well documented.
You don't have to like me or whatever the case, but those levels were key. If you've got in and you just put in 20% of your portfolio from their return, we're at a multiple of 5 from there.
Right. Because I think, and Chris Johnson said this too, man. And if you didn't check out that episode of Market Mondays, please go check that out.
Shout out to Chris.
He was like, the beautiful thing about Bitcoin is that the price it is today, it won't be in 5 years. So like, I remember,
and historically, that data has proven.
It's proven that. And I remember when we started doing this show, we're going on year 6 now, but we used to say like 5%, between 2 to 5%. And as this thing has climbed up, it's becoming overwhelmingly clear. Like, wait, we got to make an adjustment. So
2 to 5% for what?
The original was like 2 to 5% of having exposure to Bitcoin.
Oh, Bitcoin?
Yeah.
I remember when I thought of Bitcoin being at $500 was a lot. Like, okay, 2015 was at 260, July 4th. 2016, 675. 2017, 2.6K. 2018, 6.6K. 2020 at 9.1K. 2021 at 35K.
Somebody said, Ian, do you expect another 10 to 15% pullback before the end of the year?
If you go to ianinvest.com and join Red Panda Stock Club, you will know exactly my thoughts on that and what price to be able to get in. If I've made you money, put yes in chat. Back to you, Rashad and Troy.
Thank you for answering that clearly. So next year, by that 4-year cycle of Bitcoin, next year was supposed to be the year where you might see a pullback based on that. After there's like that cycles that we broke down. So it would be next year. So we'll see. This year it still have some appreciation in it.
There's always pullbacks.
Yeah. Always.
Part of it. You need that.
So,
but the deep pullbacks of dropping 35 and 40%, given the institutional involvement, that's gonna be rough to have it again. I don't think we'll never see 25,000 Bitcoin ever again in life. 28,000.
Okay.
We're a long way from home.
Troy, anything you like to say before our guest comes on? Any stock that you're looking at or option call?
Shout out to everybody in EYLU. I put a pretty elaborate breakdown on the company that I kind of mentioned before, Uber. And I'm looking at long-term leaps for it, based on a number of things. Autonomous vehicles being the number one thing. I saw Waymo is now trying to be in Philadelphia, so we'll see how that goes. It's just a matter of time before one of these ride-sharing companies or these EV companies just partners with Uber straight out. I know Tesla tried to do it with Hertz, and that was a complete failure. But Uber has the infrastructure, the platform, and the trust, which is the most important thing. Most people won't get in the car with nobody driving it. Right now, they're putting a rideshare person inside those autonomous vehicles. But as trust grows, that will change. I think the other thing that they have at their advantage, to be honest with you, is like what you guys talk about all the time. How do y'all eat?
For sure.
Right.
Saved
so
my life.
The most expensive thing that Uber pays inside of its revenue model is the driver. So if you could have food delivered autonomously, now you cut out that middleman of the driver. Now you're talking about more revenue that's going into the company. I like the way they're positioned, not only from a ride sharing platform, but also from the platform for autonomous vehicles altogether. So Uber, I'm big on right now. And shout out to Josh Brown. As I was typing my whole thesis on it, he goes out and says it's the number one stock in his portfolio.
I think Uber's underrated, bro. For it to not to be even at $100 yet is insane. It was down to what, 61 earlier this year. Like, Dar got to get a lot of credit for turning this company around from those low $20 in 2022.
Yeah, well, crossover $96, $96.50 today.
Waymo is the opposition to Uber.
Right. Oh, it's a smaller company. I'm saying at some point, that smaller company, it's competition, but you know how that goes over long term, right? If you can't compete at the same level, like a Lyft, is a ride sharing company as well. But when you think ride sharing, you think Uber, right? Most people are not getting any Lyft. At some point, they're going to say, all right, we're going to figure out how we can become partner or be acquired by it or partner with them.
Remember, they had the lawsuit.
I know.
That was a big thing with Google.
With Google.
Google owns Waymo.
Yeah, that's what I said.
That was a whole big thing of Uber and Google, because they said that
they stole the idea.
They stole the engineer.
Yeah.
So I don't think Waymo is coming on the Uber's umbrella.
Well, even if, let's say they don't, does it open up more avenues for people to go in autonomous? Yeah. If you go that route, Tesla, like I said, with the robotaxi, But if you're going to do ride sharing and if you're going to do food delivery, then it's you know who the number one is.
And what's a leap option?
Leap option means that I know a lot of people, and I don't suggest anybody day trade. I know some people like to do options out to a month, maybe 2 months. Leap options means anywhere between 6 to 2 years. I try to go out the furthest as possible.
Yeah, hold for the long term.
Yeah,
man.
yeah. And this is something that we talked about at the mastermind. If you've studied how these politicians have done it, specifically Nancy Pelosi, not only is she going out far with leaps, but she's also going deep in the money, which means that whatever the price is, right? She's saying her strike price is going to be far below that. So I think Uber's trading at $96. A deep in the money strike price would be like $70. It's already past it. So the appreciation on the way up is going to be great. With the depreciation coming down is not as drastic, not as volatile. So that's just one of those strategies. So I go out as far as possible. I think I'm out into 2027. Like I'm thinking far ahead. And I think I'm right at the money at like 92.
And for the traders, if you can hold for a long period of time, it helps when that year come and you didn't know you needed that money. You have a little issue, and then 80,000 come in. Ooh, it's a blessing.
No, it's great. And that's the part, right? When we're talking about long-term investing, obviously this isn't 10 years, but it does give you the most important aspect inside of options trading, which is time.
Yep.
Right? Because we can't predict volatility. We can't predict the April 7th. We can't predict we're putting tariffs on Japan and China. We can't predict those things. And so you want to bake that volatility into it by adding more time to anything you're doing.
Shout out to Love to Live. Up 60% from the mastermind. I'm proud of you. Shout out to my boy Joseph as well. Actually,
yeah. Oh, those companies that we spoke about on stage,
on fire.
Thank me later.
You know what's not on fire? Target. Boy,
damn. Gonna be tough. Going to be tough.
Yeah. Shout out to my man Miguel. Uptown, Dykeman,
in the chat.
Red Carpet, the Street Ball. They started their tournament today. No, but I saw him a couple of days ago. So he told me he was going to really focus on options. He said that he was inspired by watching what you was doing. So he's like, he got to lock in on options and learning options.
Yeah. We locking in the next class right now. Magda got some tentative dates, but we back in. I got some stuff I got to share.
Yeah. So, and we play in Dykeman on Friday, Dominican Power, Friday Night Lights. So come out and show love. First game of the season. Shout out to the good folks over there. Okay. Hit the like button and share. So Sam Altman, OpenAI CEO. He says that he's politically homeless in July 4th post bashing Democrats. So, one of these things, I feel like the Democrats got to set an example because too many people feel comfortable going at them because they know that they're not
strong.
They're not going to do anything. They're not going to do anything about it.
How can you set an example when you don't have good leadership?
Yeah,
you're not in a power position. The last strongest candidate from the Democratic side was Barack. After that, you took it from Bernie. I agree, but I think this is the same move Chamath moved before he became Republican too. The same as doing.
Yeah. He's the one who said that I didn't leave the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party left me.
This is Sam's move to get over to the Republican ticket to get some of that money.
Yeah. So you got Peter Thiel, you got Chamath, you got Elon. Now you
don't want to go in and be the only what? Not in this administration. When I'm trying to break away from Microsoft, shit. What?
All right, guys. Okay, 6,500 people on the check-in. Market Mondays. We always have great conversations and we have great guests. So following in that tradition, we have a very important guest. Somebody that this is the first time that we've actually spoke to him on the program.
Yeah.
We got the honor to connect with him a few years ago. But looking forward to this conversation. So let's bring up Pastor Jamal Bryant, shall we?
Market mover.
The market mover. Market mover.
Himself.
What's
My
going
brother.
on?
Hey family, how y'all doing?
I'm good,
Good.
brother. How are
How you
you?
feeling, man?
Doing great. I can update my resume. I done made it.
No, we appreciate you being here.
No, thank y'all.
No, thank you. And thank you for changing your schedule. I know, we had a few different times on the calendar. So thank you for making it. Appreciate it. Okay, so Pastor Jamal Bryant, obviously a giant in the world of, theology, but this is a business conversation and you've done something interesting. You've played a major part in the boycott of Target. So I want to talk about a few different things, but we got to start there, right? So for our audience and people that may not be all the way tapped in with everything that's been going on, can you talk about why Target was selected, the demands that you guys have for Target, where the boycott stands now? Like, give us the whole rundown.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you, family, for giving me an opportunity. There were 14 Fortune 500 companies that walked away from DEI after the inauguration of Donald John Trump. And we decided that we would follow the African proverb, the best way to eat an elephant is one piece at a time. So we focused on Target first, not last, not only first. And we want to tell you all why. Number one, ashamedly and embarrassingly, Black people spend $12 million a day in Target. Number two, without there being any protests, without there being any demonstration, after the killing of George Floyd, the president and CEO of Target, they are headquartered in Minneapolis, same place where George Floyd was killed, came out and had a press conference and said, watch the language, family, George Floyd could have been one of my employees, not colleagues, not staff, one of my employees. So they made a commitment of $2 billion that they were going to invest in Black business. They, after the inauguration, walked away from it. So we asked for four things. The first, if Black people are spending $12 million a day in Target, invest $250 million into Black banks so Black people can have access to capital to start businesses and to buy homes. Number two, there are 27 Targets on college campuses. None of them are on HBCUs. So we asked them to partner with 6 HBCUs and told them to pick whatever 6 HBCUs they wanted for their business programs, so that they could scale, so that they could franchise, and so they could roll out. I'm embarrassed that this is the largest boycott for Black people in 70 years since the Montgomery bus boycott. And here's what's crazy. We didn't have a Black-owned franchise to redirect people to. We high-fiving people to go to Costco as if that's giving back to us. Number three was that they would honor the George Floyd commitment of $2 billion. And number four, we gave them a blank check and said, you all rewrite DEI. It don't have to be called that, doesn't have to be named that, but show us a pathway where Black people can make it to the C-suites and not just work in the warehouse. And so that's where it is. We're 18 weeks later, and I am so appreciative to your audience to help make this happen. The valuation of Target has dropped by $12 billion.
Yeah.
The stock has dropped from $145 a share to $93 a share. Foot traffic is down by 7.9%. And 4 weeks ago, they slashed the CEO's salary by 42%. And all of it is thanks to us taking the Kwanzaa principle of cooperative economics.
Troy, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
You can.
No.
It
I
talks
can't
about-
hear you now.
It could talk about the needs and the wants and having a detailed plan of what the action plan is going to be. I wonder now, right? You said that Target has been down 25% year to date. Have they been in communication with you guys as this is happening? Like, how has the dialogue been between maybe their C-suite and you guys who are organizing the boycott?
They went Silence of the Lambs. They got directive from the administration to
That's
not directly work with us. It was their fear and apprehension that if Target folded, then the other companies would go back in line. So we're now in a real revolutionary act crossroads because they're hemorrhaging. You can't go 4 quarters of not making a profit,
Yeah.
where it's not almost impossible for you to come back. So, if they called today while I'm on you all show, it'd still be hard to get Black people to go back in. It takes 30 days to create a habit, and we've been out almost 90. So the brand has been beyond blemish. It's tarnished, and they're gonna need a complete facelift and turnaround to really rebrand who it is that they are at this point.
The stock price is currently at 101.60. What's the price point if you think they get to? They'll have to call you and just say, "Uncle, my brother, let's come to an agreement."
Yeah, well, in so much as BlackRock said that they are no longer a safe investment, I just saw reports this morning that the CEO is looking at retiring magically by the
Yeah,
end of
Brian
the
gotta
year.
leave. Yeah.
And so my next big hurdle, transparently, is to make sure that we keep our people out during back to school. If we can keep them out during back to school, then I think that we've crossed a major hurdle. The reality is they should be calling now. They should be clamoring now. And instead of doing that, they're just paying influencers to post about Target rather than coming to the table.
I don't know if it's gonna work.
Well, let's
Yes.
talk about that. All right, so 2 things I want to talk about. I saw it posted online, but I guess some preachers got
Yes.
involved in a Target initiative, and you wasn't appreciative of that. You said it was like $300,000. It was shortchanged. How did that come about? And did you feel betrayed that your fellow,
Betrayed
brothers?
is an understatement. So $300,000. Number one, they didn't get 300,000. They got 75,000. Target so pimped them out loud. They gave them $300,000 for them to split between 4 organizations: National Baptist Convention America, National Baptist Convention USA, Missionary Baptist, and the Church of God in Christ. So for you, if we asking for 250 million for Black banks, and let's go back to basic math. If Black people spend $12 million a day, and y'all are Baptist Christians, y'all couldn't even get a tithe. A tithe is 1.2 million. So 300,000, 75,000 is it ain't even a slap in the face. It's a hawk spit in the face. Not just to me, I think to the Black community that we would part off that easily with nothing in return.
And then my second part of that question is Kai, right? So I feel Kai Cenat got a lot of backlash because he did a live stream in Target and people, but I honestly feel like that speaks to a disconnect between young people and an older generation. I personally don't think that he may not even be aware of what's going on, or he doesn't fully understand, like, in
I'm
full
gonna meet
context.
you on the 50-yard line. I'll meet you on the 50-yard line and say to you, Kai's demo don't even go to Target. The focus was, how do we attach Black faces that are
To it.
recognizable?
Yeah.
So it ain't no big gaming section in Target that's happening. That's where mamas are going to go get starch and go get a new ironing board. And so it was off brand, but look at what they have done in the last 6 weeks. So they had Cardi B post in there. They had Bronny post in there. And so whoever it is that's trying to do this internet campaign is just looking for recognizable faces that they can throw up on the screen.
Yeah.
You said that this is just the first one, and I know there's plenty of other companies that we could mention tonight, and maybe you will. But is it possible to run a boycott simultaneously to this one? Right, there's other brands that did away with DEI.
Yeah.
Who are probably watching how Target stock is performing and potentially looking at like that could be us if we don't get this right. Are you in communications with other brands as well?
Yeah. So our next one up is going to be Dollar General. and what the audience may not know, I didn't know, is Dollar General family is 4 times bigger than Target and Walmart combined. Combined.
Yeah.
As a consequence, they've got more Black employees, but they only hire the employees in part-time positions so that they don't get benefits. They are more often than not in rural areas. And when we talk about Black economics, most people limit that conversation to inner cities and the urban areas and don't look at the rural impact. So when we talk about Atlanta, but nobody's having conversations about Rome, Georgia, or Athens, Georgia.
Yeah.
In those areas still have an economic role and a part to play. And the labor workers are meeting with us. But Black people, regrettably, in this climate, don't have the luxury of just choosing one issue. We got to figure out how to walk and chew gum at the same time.
Boycotting is one part of the strategy, but going forward, how can we guarantee that there would be equity involvement, royalty involvement? Because what I feel could happen, which I hope doesn't, but when these incidents happen, or do you think corporations will just say, well, I won't make a pledge at all, so I don't end up in the same space the target is in? Well, how do we go to actually get executive management and executive leadership positions in the companies, more Black businesses installed into their programs like we used to have, opposed to them just completely walking away and trying to wash their hands from it?
I think that we've got to stop looking at ourselves as charity cases and look at ourselves as business partners. Incredible book by Carter Rankin entitled $1.9 trillion spent. How it is that collectively as a community, we have enough spending power to buy Apple, to buy Netflix, and to buy Tesla, and still have change left over. But we've got to really be significantly shrewd about how it is that we partner and how it is that we move. We welcomed Target to the cookout. We even gave it a hood nickname and said, "This is Target." No other company can boast that claim. And so I think that we've got to figure out how we build ourselves up. I'm an 80s baby. So when we were growing up, Nancy Reagan was the first lady at the time, had to Just Say No to Drugs campaign. And drugs went up by 65%. And it went up because you can't tell people what not to do without telling them what to do.
Yeah.
And so I think it's important for us that we pick it with our pocketbooks and do targeted spending. So when people signed up, over 300,000 people signed up for Target Fast. When they signed up to be a part of the boycott, we sent to them a digital directory of 150,000 Black businesses around the country for them to support, because it's more important that we talk about what we are doing rather than what we are not.
No, that's key. As far as I always say, support boycotts is great, but support's even better, right? Like as far as building our own businesses and our own ecosystem. So I'm glad that you guys are doing that. What do you say to people that will say you're hurting Black businesses, like Tabitha Brown, right? She has a partnership with Target.
Yes.
And there's other Black entrepreneurs that may have products in Target, right?
Yeah,
Whether it's books, video games. What do you say to people that say that you're hurting Black entrepreneurs by boycotting Target?
And it hurts me that we would think the only way a Black business can be successful is to be on a white shelf. The reality is Tabitha Brown didn't get big because of Target. She got big because she figured out how to use social media, and then Target came to her. We've got to figure out the power of drop shipping. And the reality is, as all of you all know, and I'm preaching to the choir, brick and mortar is deteriorating. We can figure out how it is you can get all of them products. We can do it online. And so I partnered with the U.S. Black Chamber of Commerce. Ron Busby is the president and CEO of it, to make sure that we have prominent placement, and we redirected all of those businesses to an online space so that they can still function and thrive. It is not our intention to hurt Black business, but we've got to figure out what is good for the whole.
Interesting. So I guess in that same vein, your thoughts around Target partnering with Black events. Obviously, we saw Essence Fest happen this week, and Target was one of their lead sponsors. it kind of, you know, I saw you put a post up and telling people you're not boycotting SS Fest. You just
Right.
have a boycott with the brand itself. How should people maneuver around that? Because a lot of events rely on partnership and sponsorships from some of these brands.
Yeah, I gave Essence a pass because Essence was in a 4-year agreement. This was not pulled apart because of the protest or the boycott. They had a 4-year agreement. What will be the test, because this was the last year, is will they renew it? And so I want you to also see the bait and switch that Target did. They went to Essence and they used all of their collateral. They made it pink instead of red and white. So a lot of people didn't even know what space they were in until they did a closer inspection and look. So they were shrewd. So I want to see Essence thrive. I want to see all Black businesses thrive. But at the same time, we can't compromise. So we told people we love Essence, but we're not fooling with Target. So if you go into the Essence Go, just don't take any of their collateral and don't go into their section of the marketplace.
What's one thing you think people misunderstand about the origin of the boycott from your perspective?
Yeah, I think what people misunderstand is thinking I started the boycott. I did not. Some amazing sisters, grassroots organizers in Minneapolis, where Target started, began the boycott. I began the Target fast because I wanted to engage the Black church. I felt as if the Black church is no longer involved in the conversation of social justice. For the last 25 years, the younger generation doesn't see it as a beacon light to really speak truth to power. Black Lives Matter was the very first time in American history that a civil rights movement happened for Black people that was not birthed out of the church and did not have a religious leader. And so I curated the fast to say, hey, the church is still here. Our head is not in the sand. We are not in a coma. And I thought it was necessary because this is the largest demographic of Black people who don't go to church at all. We're at 28%.
Why do you
the
think that is?
largest, I'm sorry?
Why do you think that is?
Because they don't see any connectivity or relatability. This is the largest demographic of Black people who self-identify as an atheist. We're at 7%. And so the church has got to really evolve and has got to be intentional about moving forward and being in the market space. Here's the reality. What you all have done, and I give high commendation to you, what you have done and are doing is what the church should do. An old rabbi said this to me and it messed me up. I promise to God it messed me up. He said to me, Jamal, stop asking your church to tithe. I said, Rabbi, hey, if I stop asking my church to tithe, lights is out. And he said something that changed my mind and changed my thinking. He said, don't ask your church members to tithe 10% if you've never taught them how to budget.
Yep.
Tithing only works for people that got a budget. And if we're not teaching economic principles, then we're just running a sanctified Ponzi scheme. Because we got to show people what is the place of investment and home ownership. I'm going to give an unpopular opinion, but I'm on Earn Your Leisure, so let me say it. One of the culprits of gentrification is the Black church, because all of them empty buildings is around the church.
Yep.
And we don't say nothing because we just driving into the hood to go to the church, and then we drive back out to the suburbs without doing any real development. And so it's part and parcel our responsibility to make sure that we're doing the economic empowerment and principle. I teach around the country that when Jesus chose the 12 disciples, he didn't choose any of them from seminary. He didn't choose any of them from Bible college. All 12 were businessmen. And he never called any of them while they were in church. He called them while they were at work and said, come on, work with me, because I need to see how you work before I put you in ministry. And if the church begins to change its mindset and its mind frame on how we look at economics, I think that we can build a much stronger community.
Well, I know 3 guys who would love to partner with you and help and get back to the congregation, because I've always said this is my secular sermon.
Yeah.
This is just what I wish I would got in church.
Yeah, no, come on in. I'll take you.
So let me ask you this. I'm speaking on that. I know that you have tiny homes that you're developing.
Yes.
that-
So New Birth, for those of you watching from outside of Atlanta, I pastor New Birth Missionary Baptist Church in Stonecrest, Georgia. We are the largest land-owning Black church in America, sitting on 365 contiguous acres. So we just got a permit from DeKalb County and the city of Stonecrest that we're going to build first some mini homes, and then we're going to do senior housing, and then do, we're not using affordable housing, but obtainable housing to really build out a model of what I believe that the church ought to look like.
Yeah, we spoke. It was probably one of our most legendary conversations in this EYL journey. A few years ago at dinner, and you were talking about all the stuff that New Birth is doing in terms of giving back and creating initiatives on the acreage. Talk about more of the things that you're doing and to encourage entrepreneurship in Black business.
Yeah. So we're doing a couple of things that I think are going to be models, not just for the church, but for the urban community. In our phase 2 of our housing, and those of you all who listen, is going to resonate and it's going to make sense to you. Write it down. I'm going to give you free game that you got to consider. This is the very first time in American history, that there are more 60-year-olds than 16-year-olds. Right? So there are more senior centers, brothers, y'all ain't gonna believe it. It's more senior centers than there are middle schools. And so a lot of times when we're thinking in terms of business, we're always thinking about young people, but not how do we service that senior demographic. We're gonna build senior housing. It's gonna be the first of its kind in American history. Senior housing for seniors who have custody of their grandchildren. 4 of us who are on this line right now, one out of 5 of our friends was raised by their grandmother. 1 out of 5 of our friends was raised by their grandmother. And there's no senior housing where children can stay past the weekend. And so we're trying to build intergenerational wealth in a different way that shows a different kind of model. We already have a health clinic on our campus, but shows how do we really build a community. I know that you all are just coming back from Africa. I was in Ghana back in November, and while I was there, I said to my host, take me to the senior housing. I want to see what the different models are. And he said, Pastor, there is no senior housing. We take care of our ancestors here. It made me really rethink how it is that we're doing it, and that we've got to remove the colonial mindset of how it is that we bring family together.
Outside of the Bible, what are 2 books that had the biggest impact on your life that you can share with the audience tonight?
Ooh. Okay. So I just finished reading one. I just finished it last week. It's right here. Y'all screenshot this. $1.9 trillion spent, a love letter to corporations from Black people. This book is absolutely amazing. The second book is a book by Joy Drury, Drury, Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome. Post-traumatic slave syndrome, where we inherit the thinking of the generation that went before us without everything. So think about in our own construct where your mother, your father said, oh, don't worry about it. I didn't do good in math. And so you say, oh, well, my mama didn't do good in math. Then that gives me a pass. Then in it, we've got to rethink. I got up, gentlemen, to my church 2 years ago and repented profusely to my church and said, for 50 years of being in the Black church, I'm a 3rd-generation preacher. I've never seen a church, a Black church, give a scholarship to a young man who wanted a CDL license. Never seen the church give a scholarship to a sister that wanted to be an esthetician or a nail tech. The Black church adopted W.E.B. Du Bois and threw away Booker T. As if having a trade and having a skill is secondary.
Yeah.
When all of us know the demand for plumbers is through the roof.
Yeah,
the
electricians.
demand for those who know how to fix HVAC is through the roof. And they making money, drum roll, and have no student loans. And so we got to enlarge what is our lexicon of what we see success and what is the path of it. And I am a product of higher education. My family represents 4 generations of HBCUs. Last week, I gave scholarships to 400 Black students to get to HBCUs in one day. 423 did we give full scholarships to. But it was part and parcel of my responsibility to make sure that we enlarge it. And so I'm partnering with Job Corps nationally. They've got 12,500 young Black people who are in Job Corps, and Donald Trump is threatening to take away their funding. And so I'm trying to get churches to partner and HBCUs to partner with and to produce a pipeline so that these young people have valuable opportunities and options.
Oh, no.
How do you feel about? I saw you post something about it was some white pastors that was pretty much saying that they don't see anything that Donald Trump has done as bad. How do you feel about? So let's talk about Christians specifically.
Yes.
A lot of Christian leaders that have championed Donald Trump, despite a variety of moral flaws, that's
Yes.
highly evident and disturbing to many.
Yeah.
Like, do you see that as like an oxymoron almost?
No, it's the last remnant of slave religion. There's always been 2 Christianities in America. Let's not forget it was Christians who sanctioned slavery, who sanctioned lynching. That the AME Church, the AME Zion Church, the Baptist Church was birthed out of segregation. And so we've always had it. What is more disturbing for me is the Black preachers who sing from that songbook and put their head in the sand about everything else. I don't know how you justify from a Christian lens that there'll be no free lunch for public school students, that you take away food stamps from mothers, that we're in Georgia, 635,000 Black senior citizens are going to be without Medicaid and Medicare. And to say that you line up with the gospel is absolutely erroneous. And so it is disheartening for me that these same preachers who said Kamala Harris was a witch turned around and elected a warlock. And so it's and in part and parcel, that's the reason you asked a few moments ago why it is that a great number aren't going to church is for that reason.
So I'm interested. As you said that stat, there's more 60-year-olds than 16-year-olds. I would assume the same is true for the church. So how do we get the youth, middle-aged men and women back to church?
Yeah, I think by preaching what is relatable. I want to know, how is the gospel applying to my life? So when I was a teenager growing up in the youth church, our whole thing was keep your virginity. Now you got 16-year-olds who got questions about their sexual identity. They've got worries about STDs. When I was coming up, we had to go to my friend's house in the basement to look at his father's Playboy magazine. We didn't have no internet porn.
Instagram, yeah, for real.
So now what
He's
they
a
got
fan.
access to, they want to know what are real things that you're dealing with. And so the church says nothing about anything sexual other than don't say anything. So you're telling me be abstinent, but you won't speak to masturbation. You're saying LGBTQ is wrong, but you won't say nothing about molestation. Won't say nothing about rape. You can say nothing about abuse. And so the full breadth of who it is that we are as a community has got to come forward in the sanctuary because Jesus is not embarrassed to talk about it. I don't know why we are.
You're an amazing orator. So for everyone who's in a pitch competition at InvestFest, how do you prepare every week when you're giving your sermon to your church? And what like tips can you give for speakers who may be nervous to get on stage to have your kind of presence and charisma when they're in front of the judges?
I'll say this to you. When Donald Trump ran for president the first time, he ran against Hillary Clinton. The exit polls said none of them believed Donald Trump had more experience than Hillary Clinton. None of them thought he was smarter than Hillary Clinton. None of them thought he was more integrous than Hillary Clinton. The exit poll said he was more relatable, right? I grew up during the Cosby Show. I grew up during a different world. I grew up watching the Love Boat Fantasy Island. This generation is the largest generation in television history who was raised by non-scripted television. Love and Hip Hop, Real Housewives of Atlanta, Black Ink. And so when it is that you're speaking, you got to figure out, how am I relatable? Shakespeare said, to thine own self be true. I got the balance of having a GED and I got a doctorate degree. So when I get up, I'm going to quote Jay-Z and I'm going to quote Shakespeare. Because it's going to bring all of who it is that I am. So my congregation looks like every area of my life. I am married, but I'm also a divorcee. So I bring all of that. And so when you get on that stage, do not become witness protection. Bring the authenticity. Yeah. Authenticity is what sells. You can always tell which rapper has their lyrics written for them because it never translates when they live. They can do it in the studio, but when they get live, the real authenticity of who it is that they are begins to peek through. And so bring your authentic self. People want to see your flaws. They want to see your scars, and they want to see your testimony. Don't just give your data without giving your DNA. Make sure your DNA is wrapped in that data so people can see, where are you in this? Where do you identify in this? Where do you relate to this? So make sure that it matches what you're comfortable by. Then one of my mentors, Mike Murdoch, said, if it doesn't burden you, it's not assigned to you. So you should only speak to stuff that is an issue to you.
That's a great lesson.
Yeah, I'm not getting on Earn Your Leisure to do an interview about climate change. It's important. It's important. It's valuable.
Just
but
not
I don't
you.
have two different trash cans outside of my house. You know, so I got to speak to what it is that I know and what it is that I can speak
Gotta
to.
take care of the world I know.
And don't let Chat GPT and Google be your only research engines.
Thank you.
You got to see, where do I see it out of my own lens? When Jesus was talking to housewives, he talked about a lost coin. When he's talking to fishermen, he talked to fishers of men. So you got to speak to who is in that audience and where it is that you find yourself connecting in it.
Where do you so I see you're doing a lot of things outside the realm of what a lot of traditional pastors, black or white pastors, do, right? Like, you've championed human rights in Gaza. You're talking about political upward mobility. You're leading Boycott. You heavily involved in politics. Is that something that you've always just looked at yourself as somebody that's just bigger than just the church, or are you strategically doing this? Like, are you going to be running for governor or something? Like, is this part of your roadmap?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't pass the background check, so ain't no way I'm running for nothing. I'm saying right where I am. They only made Jeffrey Epstein's list disappear. Others of us still got lists out here. But here's the reality. 92% of what Jesus did was outside of the church. 92% of what the church does is inside. So we're missing it. Reinhold Niebuhr, a great theologian, said you ought to have a Bible in one hand and a newspaper in the other. And so I think that we got to go beyond stained glass windows and really hit the street corners to really do what is effective and what is substantive and meaningful. And I think that that's what real ministry is supposed to look like. The reality is, Martin Luther King Jr. never pastored a church that had more than 400 members. But he changed the world because he got outside of that building. And so I think that you can't limit your assignment to the space that you're in. But you got to dream so big that if God don't get involved, you'll get embarrassed. That the only way that it's going to work is that you got the God factor working with you.
You alluded to something earlier, and at the time, I don't know if you were married then, but you were a divorcee. You said that you've been both. Talk about the role, because when I watch you on Instagram now, it's like it's a totally different glow to you now. It's like,
Man, I'm neon. I'm glowing in the dark, brother.
talk about the role that marriage has played on you this time around, man.
Listen, it settles you. I champion marriage, drum roll, to the right person. Not just marriage. Marriage is the most significant soul decision and financial decision you'll ever make in your life. Who you are married to will help elevate you to your assignment, or it'll derail you from your goal. And if you don't have the right partner, it's gonna be a sinkhole. Thank God I got the right person. So listen, I'm walking on sunshine. I'm in a good place. I was divorced for 11 years, but I got somebody who is, and I want to say it for gentlemen to hear me, who is my intellectual peer, who I can really sit through and talk through ideas and concepts. It's a lot of people, we like the women we want don't have the right body type.
Wait, what? Wait, hold on.
We was holding on for dear life there. We was.
I'm saying
keep going. Keep going.
what I'm saying to you is a lot of times when we choose, it is based off of the physical.
Okay.
And not the mental and the emotional, and the physical ones we drawn to don't have the intellectual capacity for you to brainstorm with. So you ending up doing it by yourself. You got to find yourself with a mixed blend, who is able to really entice you emotionally, spiritually, physically, and financially. Somebody who can push you over the ledge, but still got a parachute on their own back.
Wow.
Like that.
How did you know your wife was the one for you?
Man, listen, because she challenged me. See, the right woman knows how to play football. The right woman has got to be your number one cheerleader. Cheerleaders only come out to the game when you losing. The right woman has got to be your fan. You're still excited about every down you make. The right woman has got to be your coach that will talk to you in the headset without embarrassing you out loud. The right woman has got to be able to help you with knowing the right play and say, hey, maybe we should take a knee, or we got to settle for a field goal and come and do a touchdown later. The right woman has got to be a sideline doctor to help heal you after you have been tackled, to say that a touchdown is still possible. And so once you get that one person on that team, and I found that one person, shout out to Dr. Jamal Bryant, has really helped me, because I didn't even think I'd be able to get married again. I had an Achilles heel. There wasn't no way in the world I was going to be able to get there with a pulled hamstring.
Yeah.
But she pulled me back together, and I've got greater focus. I've got greater commitment, and I've got greater drive because I got the right woman on my side.
Amen.
Well,
It's a hell of an answer, man. Thank you.
Brian, I want to thank you for coming on. Before you leave, I got to ask you about InvestFest. You will be at InvestFest this year.
Indeed.
City of Atlanta. I thought it was just very appropriate, especially with all the economic stuff that you're doing outside of Boycott, as far as everything that we talked about and more. Are you excited about InvestFest? What's your thoughts on InvestFest in Atlanta?
Let me say this to you. Two things. One, I'm excited about InvestFest. I want to challenge pastors to come, church leaders to come, to begin thinking outside of the box and thinking a different way. And then I'm going to give a challenge to my brothers on Invest Your Leisure. For 2026, I want to do a InvestFest 2.0 that is just for the Black church. I'm going to host it for you for free, on how you stop gentrification around Black churches, how Black churches can begin to start thinking strategically, financially, how Black churches can be financial incubators. When I was growing up, they don't have them no more much outside of the Navy. Black churches used to have their own credit unions. Black churches, depending on how old your grandmother was, used to have Christmas clubs on how they would save all year round. Over the Target Boycott, I brought 5 black mega churches together and turned them into black malls with 100 black businesses in them. And so I want to do a different, we can talk about it offline. But I was waiting to see you, but so now I'm seeing you. But I think that the church really needs a different kind of strategic conversation. The largest, and you all know it, the largest real estate manager in the world is the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church owns more real estate than any company. Second to them is McDonald's. We don't even have the data on how much property black churches own. So what if we had a conversation on black churches becoming solar farms? You got me? That we bring them together under your umbrella and figure out how it is that we do collective bargaining with banks. If I'm bringing you 5,000 churches and we go into Truist or Wells Fargo, then there's got to be a different kind of arrangement. And I think that the black church is a economic incubator that is a sleeping giant. And I'm saying transparently, I need y'all's help so that I can help mobilize the church. I want to say this in closing, InvestFest, y'all got to come, because economic empowerment for black people is a revolutionary act. If you don't remember nothing else I've said tonight, I want you to remember the Klan never bombed the NAACP office. They never bombed the Urban League office. They never bombed a Rainbow Push office, but they bombed Black Wall Street because they understand the power of black economics is a threat against white supremacy. And so we really do this the right way. I think that the revolution will not be televised. It's going to be live on YouTube for Invest Your Leisure. I'm glad to be a part of it.
Appreciate it, my brother.
Always a pleasure, my brother.
Thank you.
See you soon. Hey, man, don't wear them silk pajamas this year. Put on a suit when I come. See y'all later.
Dr. Jamal Bryant.
Oh my God.
Silk pajamas.
That is by request.
No silk pajamas.
That is hilarious. Hell of an orator.
Oh man. I mean,
media masterclass.
I think we spent probably 3 hours at dinner one night with him, and we walked away like, yo, that was incredible. Just an incredible dude, man. Funny guy too.
InvestFest Your Leisure.
It was InvestFest Your Leisure. Mike, I saw you text me. You work on it.
InvestFest.
But even to ask at the end, he came, deliver value, threw his proposal out to the public. Even in the guests, there's a lot to learn. The gym about, you gotta have a football player.
Go. Your intellectual equal.
Yeah.
That's tough to find. That's tough.
It's tough.
But she's there.
Yeah.
I'm praying for y'all.
Yeah.
Shout out.
We'll discuss more one day.
Shout out to Pastor Jamal Bryant, man. Good dude. Like I said, we actually had dinner with him years ago in Atlanta. And because he's from Baltimore originally.
I know that.
But funny guy, man. Very, very
hilarious.
Entertaining, intelligent. And this Target boycott is something that no matter how you feel about it, it has
worked. It's been effective. Brian, you're gonna have to retire. I know you've been there. When Brian get there? 2013, 2014? My boy, you need to wrap this up. That little 300,000 you gave them other passes out your pocket. Not gonna cut it. Whatever.
That was kind of why I was intrigued why only them, but obviously he said Dollar General is next, but there's plenty of companies. Walmart is involved and they cut back. Meta. There's a bunch of companies.
Walmart and Meta bigger than the program. You gotta wait.
So we got to be strategic.
You got to be strategic, but you starting off strong.
Yeah. At first they did not. I think one of the things and the big mistake is obviously what they did in terms of, doing away with the initiatives and the things that they promised. But the other part was trying to ignore that it was happening, right? At one quarter it was, sales are just down. 2 quarters. We're going on 4 quarters now here where you haven't been in the green.
It's tough. What was that high? 262? Yeah, 268.98 in 2021.
Yeah, and this is high.
101.60.
Yeah, back to school's high season for them. Holidays obviously high season for them. If they can't turn around in this quarter, man. Yeah, CEOs are gonna have to be.
It's gonna be tough. I was in there the other day at CVS. It looked like Walking Dead in there.
But that's something maybe we can collaborate on as far as, having a discussion with the church hierarchy, because we talked about this before, even on Blackout, when we had a couple conversations about the church. But traditionally, the Black church has been the largest Black business in the Black communities. If you go to any Black community, there's more Black churches than any other form of business. There's more Black churches than grocery stores.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, so for better or worse, no matter how you feel about that, the fact that there's so many churches, there's money that's coming in, not just from tithing, from a variety of other different factors. I mean, this is land, this is real estate, this is, so if done correctly, like he said, I mean,
what's the valuation on that? Like, what's the valuation?
The Mormon church has an investment fund, billions of dollars. The Catholic Church is
just in real estate,
largest landowner in the world. I mean, we can go on. The Jesuits, they own a lot of stuff. So, I mean, why not?
Gotta do it.
It's long overdue.
Yeah. Shout out to, I saw somebody in the comments saying The Color of Money. If anybody hasn't read that book, it details about how the church played a role in Black economics, man. So yeah, he's right. He's right.
Shout out to CVS though, inside of the Target. I didn't mean you individually.
Yeah, because I thought you said you was at CVS in Target.
I was CVS in Target.
Okay,
yeah.
got you.
Oh, you went inside of Target?
At the pharmacy though. You was at the pharmacy. You wasn't really there. You was at the farm because
that's one of them places.
Include me on them emails. Well, my brother, you broke the boycott, so you can't.
The screenshot gonna look crazy. Like, I know I saw him in there.
He crossed the line.
Damn, bro.
8 Mile Rap. You gotta get in front of it before it come out.
Get it. I was at the CVS. Got you.
Okay.
Big scandal.
Okay.
So it ain't so.
All right. Man, good conversation.
That was dope.
Shout out to Jamal Bryant, man. He'll be at InvestFest looking for. We got him and we got Pastor Mitchell.
Yeah.
So we got both of them.
Yeah. I was gonna ask him about that.
Different times.
Just like when we talk about relatability, he's obviously mastered that.
I think they're polar opposites.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How is he viewing this?
How's he viewing what?
How is he viewing it? Like as you're watching somebody that
Pastor Mitchell?
Yeah.
How's he viewing Target Boy?
No. How
Jamal
Pastor
Bryant
is
viewing.
They don't have beef, do they?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Nah.
All right. Okay. Anything else we need to talk about, or we go?
Let me I'll scroll through these notes. Let me see. We did the Palantir.
Did they low-key destroy Dollar General as well?
Oh, hey, I think this is an audience question, Ian. I guess we can all answer it. On the S&P, and because I know people are going to ask this, right? We've hit new highs. The S&P 500 and NASDAQ continue to push new highs. Are we seeing a liquidity-fueled rally or something fundamentally sustainable beneath the surface?
Honestly, the stock market may be the last vehicle that people can invest in that does not have a bunch of guardrails on it. VC, angel investing, certain parts of commercial real estate are really tough. These gains are real. The greatest companies in the world are bundled up in these portfolios. I know everyone keeps waiting for a pullback. I honestly, with VOO and a couple of other ETFs, if they calibrated them differently, I think they could be higher. I have VOO going to 607 by end of the year, 607.34, which is crazy to even think about or say. But these are real gains. Like, people have to deploy capital, and because the cost of living is getting so high, the big beautiful bill is going to add trillions of dollars of debt. Cost of living is so high. What's the alternative? The job market is not keeping up with pace of inflation. It's the only vehicle you can almost put money into and be okay.
Someone pull back before InvestFest?
For sure.
There will be. I'm saying that.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll tell you right on stage, right after Magic Johnson, what prices to invest in and we can see if we'll be on the yacht and do market Mondays there the week after. But
Yeah.
I got you on stage. I'll guide you.
We're here. I agree with you. I think this is a real rally. I don't. That word bubble gets brought up, but
It's no bubble.
This isn't a bubble. And when you look
Not a
at what
bubble.
the especially the Max 7, all the infrastructure, all the capex that they're spending inside of AI, you can see that this is something that's going to be here for a while. I still think it's early innings. I know last year we asked people like where we at. They're like it's still the second inning. It's still early, man. It's still early.
And to be very honest, the .com bubble burst. Wish they could have been this. Like this era of tech has over-delivered almost on every promise. There's companies in China and Korea that are delivering at a higher clip than some companies in 2010. This is not a short-lived rally. This is going to go on. And it's even bleeding into, once again, Microsoft, that healthcare AI platform they have can diagnose better. That's the next move.
Yeah.
Apple dropped the ball because you had Project Titan for the EV car, Ego. Microsoft keeps doubling down on the areas that matter. And if they get that thing to scale, which they should, Sam, you can go bye-bye. We'll get our percentage and we'll take over healthcare.
I feel like that's like one of those final frontiers, right? That health intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
You know who the CEO of their AI health intelligence is? Or where he comes from? This you probably get this is easy.
I do, but tell us.
From Google.
All these amazing tech companies. Once again, that Meta versus versus Apple and Microsoft and everyone against Apple, that's the real war. It's a real war. Zuckerberg just stole the head of Apple's emerging AI division and put him in Meta Super Intelligence Pro. That's the Avengers with Thanos. You know how happy you got to be and how rich you know you're going to be to like surf on 4th of July in the Eagles outfit? When I was like,
just for the hell of it. Yeah, just for the hell of it.
Tim Cook, go to chairman. It's time now.
Been a hell of a run.
It's been a great run.
All right, guys. It's been real. Get your tickets.
Tom Ford personally gave you those Tom Ford glasses, or?
The Tom Ford play.
They're not AI.
Dr. Jamal Bryant will be at InvestFest, ladies and gentlemen. Put that on your calendar. We will be announcing a full run of show in a couple of weeks, so you can schedule. But I'll say this: if you can plan to get there at 10 o'clock on Friday and leave at 8 o'clock on Sunday, because everything is worth it.
Ideally Monday morning, because that's what a lot of
Sunday you're gonna
get finalized.
Yeah, 8 o'clock on Sunday is when it's ending. So Monday,
catch the early Monday morning flight. You can get back to work. You'll be fine.
Early 5 o'clock in the morning.
You never know. We might do something Monday night though. You just might want to.
Hello.
Yeah.
We
Traditionally,
might be live that night.
I mean, traditionally.
Yeah, Monday. Yeah, block out. Yeah, Monday. Leave on Monday because you don't want to miss Sunday night.
Thanks to all 6,700 of you who tuned in tonight for like the old days.
Man. That's love, man. And I think shout out to Chanel. She was in the chat. She said that January is a money month. Traditionally, in the third quarter, July has been the best month historically. I guess that's where she's getting that data from. But yeah, that's true. July, obviously August and September, and July is the best month to invest in.
Yeah, July I think has been positive every month since 2015.
Yep.
Like a 10-year run.
There you go. Go with the data.
Yep. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. It's been tremendously real.
Love is love.
Blackout on Wednesday. David Banner on Thursday. Yes.
Happy birthday to our brother, man. Alvin, what's going on? It's our brother Alvin's birthday today. Today is his birthday. He is actually, I think he's going to be here. We're going to be with him tomorrow, man. He's going to be in town. So shout out to him. Happy birthday to him. Shout out to Tawan and Tiff, the twins from our town. Their birthday is tomorrow. Shout out to everybody that's having a birthday. My nephew, actually, happy birthday to him. Yeah, man. It's
Drew, got a little one on the way. Do soon. I love you, my brother.
Yo,
proud of you.
Congrats to Drew. Shout out to Philly. Shout out to his restaurant. If you haven't checked out his restaurant, go check it out. And
prayers to everybody in Texas with the flood and the travesty that happened this weekend. Yeah, hit that mute button real quick before y'all get in trouble. That,
Gotta clear.
stop.
Gotta
You
get. We gotta
chill
get
out,
clearance
yo.
first.
You doing too much. Shout out to the boy. I'll see you.
Shout out to the
miss?
six.
Fight back. Fight back. Keep fighting back. You need a couple of collabs. You'll be all right. Shout out TV Gucci, Baka.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. It's been real. It's been real. And just remember, if you're hating, you'll always be a loser.
We see it all.
Love.
We see it all.
Love.
Y'all keep doing your
Oh
job.
my
We do
God.
ours. Love is love, y'all. Be good.
No, it's not. If you
We see it all. Make this your new thumbnail.
and this is live. Who said that? This don't be live. What's her name?
No, that's real life.
What's her name? Kaylee.
Gotta go back up.
And I'm gonna be real. If it's live or not, what difference do it make if you execute on information?
This don't be live.
Kayla Manifestation Beauty Bar.
Shout out to your business. This is live. What you mean?
Support Black business. Go to her beauty bar.
Support that.
And cash out.
Nigel said we live for once. Live the information that I give you.
What you mean live for once?
Live
boy?
your brokerage account.
Please.
For real. Come
Open
on.
that up. Check on that.
Try that.
Yo, man.
Respectfully.
Respectfully, of course. Everything.
Oh, this isn't live. Y'all missing out on millions trying to be a stream groupie. Fucking invest money, man.
That's
what pixel is it? The camera. Go fucking invest.com. That's the new site. Go fucking invest. We are live.
All right, y'all. Be good.
Catch ups next week, maybe.
Perhaps.
Perhaps.
All right, y'all.